So now that we've shown you the lights and how they operate and how you can set them up, it's time to look at the various modifiers that we have that you can use to help sculpt, shape and define your light onto your subject matter. And each one does things slightly different. There'll be some that you will enjoy using, some that you maybe won't see the effect as such for your style or whatever it is you're trying to photograph. And people end up gravitating towards one or two attachments that find suit their style. So don't worry too much about the mass of modifiers that there is. You will gravitate towards what you like to use for your own lighting. Now, initially, we have our spill kill on our light here, and this just produces a wide blast of light. Because it's a silver reflector, it's quite a hard light, quite a refined light source, and it just basically spills the light out. Although it is called a spill kill, it does direct it slightly out, but it's not really controlled or defined at all. It just throws the light out, which I can show you with the modern lamp on. So you can see, just turn it up a little bit, you can see that I'm just getting light all around here with a harsh spot in the middle. That's actually coming from the modern bulb. If I was to flash that, it would come out all around the wall there. The light would just be spilled out everywhere. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off between changing modifiers, because a word about safety, when the modelling bulb is on, these get extremely hot. So you've got to be careful that when you're changing modifiers that you use appropriate gloves, or you turn the lamp off, or turn the flash unit off, sorry, until it's suitably cooled down, where you can then handle that. And just check back of your hand if you need to, whether it's too hot to touch. I'm going to stick with the spill kill. This is the one that comes in the kit. And if you buy a lighting kit, you tend to get a flash, stand, spill kill, and one of these, which is perhaps the most versatile modifier that you're going to have in your arsenal of lighting. And kits usually come with two lights, so the bags with these have two of these, two spill kill stands, and two of these umbrellas, which are actually extremely versatile. When you open them up, they have a white reflector and a silver reflector, and when used in a certain way, so for example, if I was lighting something on this table here and had it that way, I'd be getting bounce lighting. It would be quite soft because of the white diffuser, but also it would have a slight edge to it because of the silver reflector. And we have some of these umbrellas that just have a silver reflector for hard to find light without the diffusion to soften it. One or two you can get in gold for warmer light, but this one does have a bit of diffusion to it to give a softer but sculpted light to it. And this just slots into the umbrella holder here on the side of the spill kill. Just slot the arm through and tighten that down. Again, word of warning, don't over tighten these things, just enough to hold it in place, because damage can happen when they're over tightened. You will find that when you're shooting, depending on the distance that the umbrella is away, affects the spread and softness of the light. So having the umbrella further away will give you a more spread of light, but it'll be slightly softer. In terms of the contrast between light and shadow, the gradient will be softer. And if you bring it in quite close, that spread of light is slightly smaller, and the line between light and shadow is a bit more defined as well. Now the versatility of these, especially if you have the modern bulb off, you can take the umbrella down slightly, so you can be more controlling and more directional with your light. You can almost pinpoint it down by closing the umbrella down. But again, make sure your modern bulb's off, because otherwise this will get very hot. And the other benefit of this is that this cover actually comes off and it becomes a shoot-through diffusion umbrella. So out of one attachment, we have many different uses. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that on, and I'm just going to show you how that looks. So again, the white diffusion material reflector, got a nice soft even spread. You can see there the shadows aren't too harsh. Again, if I pop that off, you can see, again, start to get light fall off happening over here because I'm funneling the light down onto the source. If I was to open this up and take this diffuse off, again it'd just be a big, soft, diffused light. However, with the brolly, sometimes, and especially a problem when you're using flash guns with umbrellas, is that you will end up with a slight hot spot in the middle. So just bear that in mind as well. Because the light is going straight, travelling straight down the diffuser, it will give you a slight hot spot in the middle of the umbrella, and then the light will fall off. So that is what I would consider the most versatile piece of kit. You can use this for still lifes, portraits, outdoors, indoors. It really is, you know, it's the reason it comes as part of the kit bag is because it is one of the most versatile lighting. The thing I use quite often next are honeycombs. Okay, so the honeycomb grid system is built in such a way that it breaks up the light. So you get more of a dappled, broken up light. So it's not just a full-on light source. These ones just fit in. Just be very careful pushing them in because they do work on pressure. It's not liking that one. Try this one. These ones actually we tape to the LED lights, which I'll show you another time, but what we do have is this bigger snoop, which I'll talk about in a second, this bigger spill kill. But by putting this in, you can see that the light gets broken up. Okay, so it's more of a dappled, broken up, softer effect light, which is quite good, for example, if you're doing your set building and you want to mimic nighttime light, dappled light, good for that sort of thing. It lifts and adds texture to your images. Just show you an example of this. Now this spill kill I've got on, or reflector as they're sometimes called, it's longer because it will throw light further. So if you were trying to light a subject matter, such as an animal, a larger piece, and you want to throw the light and intensify it, you would use this reflector / spill kill rather than the kit ones, which are a bit wider and shorter. This one does push and give a bit more power to the light as well. One way you can think about the light is you can think about sort of like, you know, the paint, like your texture in the paint, softening it, using a harder brush, etc. So you can see here that with the honeycomb on, I'm just getting this soft, dappled edge effect. If I take this out, you can see that I've got a large area of light, quite refined. If I pop that on, not only am I bringing the light softer and smaller, actually lifts up a bit of texture. When you're photographing things like foliage or set builds, etc., and you've got texture, using this sort of dappled light really lifts that texture out. The larger spill kill comes with a couple of other attachments. We have our spot. Okay, so we have our what we call a snoot. We've got different types of snoots here, and what this does is this focuses the light into a spotlight. This one slides onto this larger attachment. This one, as you can see, has got the 3 plugs there. Will go straight on to the bones itself. Again, they do get very hot. They're made of metal, but as you can see here, we have a very refined spotlight light happening there. So, yeah, this is just to give you some idea. Again, all of these will need experimentation and practice to find to find what it is you like to use yourself. And different modifiers lend themselves to different subject matters as well, so that will need some work and experimentation as well. The next light we have on here, next modifier, sorry, are the barn doors. And again, we can just use the metal doors to sculpt that light, to soften it, or to give it a slightly wider spread but cut off some of the edges. With the barn doors as well, you can usually clip, if you turn off the modelling bulb, so there's no heat generated, but you can clip things like coloured gels, diffusion material, etc. The bishop's hat, okay, is a background light or a kicker, what we call. So you'd use a floor stand, which I'll get one to hand shortly. A floor stand, the light on the floor stand attaches to the light, and by putting it down on the floor, it will bring the light up behind. So again, if you're doing a set build and you want to make it look like sunset or sunrise light, you can gel this using the clips and put coloured gel over it. Put it down low to give the sense of light coming up from behind the horizon. We have our soft light reflectors, or beauty dishes as they're called. And again, what this does is this bounces light into the cap and then round the dish and back out. So this one, the small one here, is again quite a defined light source. You can again gel it or colour grade it afterwards. And this is a good one for mimicking sort of sunlight or higher sunlight because it gives that same type of coverage. We also have the bigger beauty dishes, and they come with diffusion socks and honeycomb grids as well to give you so much versatility. They don't all have to be on at the same time, of course. You can take the honeycomb off and just put a diffusion sock on to soften the light. Or if you want that more softer textured light, leave the honeycomb on and the sock or just the honeycomb. Now some of those attachments are quite large as well, so don't ever be worried about asking for help or getting a partner to help you out or come and find a member of staff to help you make sure the attachments are on safely. The next lighting attachment that we use quite often are our soft boxes. And we have many varieties of these for flashes, small flashes, larger flashes, different ways. And all it is the light goes into the back, reflects back out, goes through this diffusion panel and gives you a soft, very flexible, very diverse light that you can use and sculpt. You can be directional with it or you can feather. In class and demos you'll hear me talk about feathering a lot, and that is where instead of just putting the softbox straight onto the subject, so I was taking a portrait of a person instead of it being straight on the subject, I would maybe turn it away slightly and the stuff reflecting off the here will just feather on, just sculpting the light a bit more. Again, that comes with practice. And as well as traditional square and rectangle softboxes, we have an octabox as well. And these are pop-up boxes as well, so they're easy to store. Again, they come with diffusion panels and honeycomb panels as well to give you the variety and the versatility to break up your light, to have the light hard, directional, or to have it soft and feathery. So lots and lots of modifiers there for you to experiment with, for you to practice with, for you to try out, try on different subjects. You know, you're going to have to spend time putting these things on, shooting stuff and seeing what effect you get. And then what you'll find is you'll find that certain reflectors or certain modifiers, suit your style of editing, your style of shooting more. Some you maybe don't find useful, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to use every single one, but by all means please experiment with each one. What we do have as well are these adapters where the Bowens mount can fit onto them, and these will actually take your flash gun. So some of the smaller ones especially things like the honey, the snoots, etc. you can use with your flash. Again, making sure that your field work can have the versatile lighting as well. Again, any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Thank you.